You knew all this time?
The notification chimed at 2:47 a.m. Marcus Reed squinted at his phone's blue glow. The smart home app showed Oral-B Premium, profile Elena, last used 1:23 p.m. Tuesday. Marcus sat up, his analytical mind processing the anomaly. Tuesday. He'd worked until 8 p.m. at the dental tech startup. Tyler, their 16-year-old son, had basketball practice until 5, then dinner at Jake's house. Elena claimed she'd worked late at the warehouse hub until 9 p.m. So who used Elena's toothbrush at 1:23 p.m.? Elena? He shook his wife's shoulder. What time is it? Did you come home yesterday afternoon? Elena's eyes opened, alert despite the hour. Why? The toothbrush app logged your profile at 1:23 p.m. She yawned. Oh, right. Forgot my warehouse keys. Had to grab them from my nightstand. You didn't mention that. Marcus, it was 5 minutes. Can we discuss toothbrush analytics in the morning? But Marcus was wide awake. Elena was meticulous about details. She could recall inventory discrepancies from weeks ago. Forgetting a midday trip home seemed inconsistent. He pulled up the app again. Elena's usage pattern was clockwork, 7:15 a.m., 10:30 p.m., every day for months. Tuesday's 1:23 p.m. entry stood out like a red flag. The next morning, Marcus watched Elena prepare for work with new eyes. Everything normal. Everything perfectly, suspiciously normal. I'll be late tonight, she said. Annual inventory prep work. How late? Maybe 10. Tyler has practice, right? Elena kissed his cheek and left. Marcus opened his laptop. As senior product analyst at Dentatech Solutions, Marcus had access to beta firmware for smart home devices. Within 2 hours, he'd installed microscopic cameras throughout their house, embedded in smoke detectors, picture frames, the coffee maker. Motion-activated, cloud-connected, invisible. He told himself it was verification. Elena would come home at lunch, prove her story, and he'd remove the cameras. Thursday morning brought the same routine. Elena left at 7:45 a.m. Marcus parked 3 blocks away and opened the surveillance app. At 12:47 p.m., his world tilted. Elena's Honda pulled into their driveway. She moved quickly inside, checking her appearance in the microwave's reflection, smoothing her hair. Nervous energy radiated from every gesture. At 12:58 p.m., a silver Lexus parked across the street. A tall, auburn-haired woman emerged, mid-30s, professional attire that couldn't hide an athletic build. She approached Marcus's front door with confidence. Elena answered immediately. The kitchen camera captured them briefly before they moved upstairs. 1:15 p.m., 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock. At 2:17 p.m., both women returned to the kitchen. The stranger left first. Elena watched from the window, then quickly tidied the living room, spraying air freshener. Marcus drove home in a daze. In the laundry hamper, he found Elena's work shirt, wrinkled and reeking of unfamiliar perfume. In Elena's purse, he discovered a folded piece of paper. I crave your skin. R, the handwriting was feminine. The paper smelled like vanilla and jasmine, expensive perfume Elena never wore. R, who was R? Marcus's analytical mind constructed a database of every R in Elena's orbit. Robert Chen, Elena's district manager. Soft-spoken, 50s, thick glasses, married 23 years. Ryan Kowalski, their divorced neighbor. Recently separated, worked in IT. Richard Valdez, Elena's physical therapist for back issues. Marcus eliminated Robert first. A call to Elena's work revealed Robert had taken medical leave for prostate surgery, spending recovery in Portland. Ryan proved interesting. Thursday evening, Marcus approached him at their garbage bins. Hey Ryan, how's the divorce going? Expensive. Carla's attorney is bleeding me dry. Elena's been a good listener through this. Elena? Ryan looked puzzled. We barely talk, just waves across the fence. She mentioned you'd been chatting? About what? I spend nights playing video games and feeling sorry for myself. Ryan's confusion seemed authentic. Dead end. Richard Valdez's website revealed he was gay, married to his partner of 12 years. Friday evening, Marcus tried a direct approach. While Elena graded Tyler's homework, he casually mentioned the note. Found something weird in your purse. A piece of paper with a romantic message. Elena's pen paused microseconds. What paper? Said something about craving skin, signed with an R. Oh, that. Elena laughed, but the sound felt forced. Rebecca from yoga class. She writes dramatic thank you notes. That one was about massage oil I recommended. Plausible explanation, delivered with characteristic confidence. But Marcus had checked their credit card statements. No yoga charges for months. Saturday morning provided the breakthrough. While Elena showered, Marcus accessed her phone using Tyler's charging cable and an old computer trick. Elena's contacts revealed no Rebecca from yoga. But her browsing history showed searches for Well-Form Therapeutics and Licensed Massage Therapy Seattle. Well-Form Therapeutics specialized in therapeutic massage and wellness consultation. The address led to a converted house in Ballard with a discreet sign, Well-Form Therapeutics, by appointment only. Marcus parked across the street and waited. At 2:30 p.m., the silver Lexus pulled into the driveway. The auburn-haired woman emerged, unlocked the door, and disappeared inside. At 6 p.m., she emerged and walked to her Lexus. The license plate read RCLTX1, R. Cole, Texas, Rebecca Cole. Sunday afternoon, Marcus created a fake identity. David Morrison, construction supervisor, relocated from Portland. Lower back problems. Cash payments preferred. The booking was professional. Rebecca's voicemail returned his call within hours, scheduling Monday at 2 p.m. Monday morning, Marcus called in sick and drove to Well-Form Therapeutics. The converted house looked professional, landscaped, expensive lighting, a Zen garden. Rebecca Cole answered wearing scrubs and a professional smile. David Morrison? Yes, ma'am. Thanks for fitting me in. Her handshake was firm. Lower back issues can be debilitating. Please, come in. The interior was a complete wellness clinic. Soft lighting, calming music, eucalyptus, and lavender scents. Professional certificates covered the walls. Rebecca was licensed in Washington, Oregon, and Texas. Tell me about your back problems, Rebecca said. Marcus launched into his prepared story. Construction work, herniated disc, chronic pain. Rebecca listened with genuine attention, asking knowledgeable questions. I specialize in deep tissue work, she explained. My goal is long-term pain relief, not temporary comfort. How'd you get into this work? Originally from Dallas. Moved here 3 years ago for a fresh start. Rebecca's smile flickered. Sometimes life demands geographic solutions. They moved to the massage room. Professional, immaculate, expensive equipment. Rebecca explained her methods while Marcus cataloged the space. I'll need you to undress to your comfort level, Rebecca said. Most clients prefer underwear only. Marcus's pulse quickened. Actually, before we start, I'm wondering if you know someone. Elena Reed? She mentioned she comes here. Rebecca's demeanor shifted. Her smile became guarded. I can't discuss other clients. Confidentiality is paramount. Elena's just a neighborhood friend. Said you'd helped with her stress. I'm sorry, but I really can't. She speaks highly of your work. Said you'd become quite close. Rebecca's hand moved to the doorknob. Mr. Morrison, I think there's confusion about my practice. I provide therapeutic massage, nothing more. Elena's my wife. The words hung like a physical presence. Rebecca's face went pale. I think you should leave, she whispered. I know about the Thursday afternoons, the note you wrote her. I crave your skin. Rebecca stepped backward, trembling. I don't know what you think you know. I have cameras, Rebecca. I've seen you in my house, in my bedroom with my wife. For a moment, the mask slipped. Rebecca's face showed raw fear, then calculating assessment. Get out, she whispered. Get out now, or I'm calling the police. Marcus stood slowly. I'm here to understand what kind of person destroys a 16-year marriage for sport. You don't understand. Enlighten me. Rebecca's jaw tightened. Elena's been unhappy for years. She needed someone who listened, who made her feel valued. I didn't steal her. You lost her long before I met her. The words hit like physical blows. When did it start? Elena came to me 8 months ago. Professional referral for stress management. Panic attacks, sleeping problems, digestive issues. Classic symptoms of chronic emotional distress. From what? From living with someone who treats her like a business partner instead of a wife. Someone who notices toothbrush timing but can't remember asking how her day was. Marcus felt the accusation land with devastating accuracy. When had he really talked to Elena about anything besides schedules and logistics? So you decided to fix her marriage by sleeping with her? Rebecca's laugh was bitter. I gave her space where she felt appreciated. where someone paid attention to her needs instead of taking inventory of her activities. In my house, in my bed. Elena needed somewhere safe, somewhere she could be herself without judgment. Rebecca's voice strengthened, which was apparently an illusion. Marcus pulled out his phone showing surveillance footage. Elena and Rebecca in the living room, Elena's head on Rebecca's shoulder, both laughing. Rebecca stared at the image, defiance crumbling. You recorded us? I recorded my wife having an affair in my house while my son was at school. Jesus Christ. You really are a controller. Elena said living with you felt like prison. Each word was designed to wound. Marcus had considered himself protective, but through Rebecca's eyes, his care looked like surveillance. What does she need that justifies this betrayal? To feel desired, to feel interesting, conversations about something other than efficiency. Rebecca's voice softened. Elena's brilliant. She has supply chain innovation ideas that could revolutionize warehouse operations. When did you last ask about her work? Really ask? Marcus couldn't remember. Elena's work was logistics, moving things from point A to point B. He'd never considered it intellectually stimulating. She's taking online data analytics courses, Rebecca continued. Wants to develop predictive inventory models. She's passionate, but you glazed over whenever she mentioned it. Recognition of his failures didn't diminish the betrayal. Elena hadn't given him a chance to change. It's over, Marcus said quietly. Whatever you two have been doing ends now. That's not your decision. Actually, it is. I have enough evidence to destroy both your lives. Video surveillance, financial records, communication logs. I can prove Elena's been using our home for affairs during work hours, violating her employment contract. I can report you to the licensing board for inappropriate client relationships. Rebecca's face went white. You wouldn't? Try me. Elena will leave you if you do this. Elena's already left me, she just hasn't moved out yet. Marcus opened the door. You have 48 hours to end this. If I see your car near my house, if Elena's toothbrush gets used during work hours, if I find any evidence you're still in contact, I start making phone calls. You can't control her forever. I'm not trying to control her. I'm trying to salvage what's left of my family before Tyler finds out his mother's been lying for months. Tyler already knows something's wrong. Kids always know. The words followed Marcus to his car. Tyler had been withdrawn lately, spending more time in his room. Marcus had attributed it to teenage behavior, but now wondered if his son had sensed the tension. Some betrayals were unforgivable. Tuesday evening, Marcus implemented his plan. He'd sent Tyler to stay with Elena's sister Kate, ostensibly for a cousin's sleepover. Elena's Honda was in the driveway. She'd claimed to be working late. Inside, Elena was preparing dinner with unusual attention. Wine, candles, even the blue dress Marcus had complimented months ago. You're home early, she said. Where's Tyler? Kate's house, emergency sleepover. Emergency? Family crisis. Marcus studied his wife. Elena moved with practiced grace, but tension radiated from her shoulders. I thought you were working late. System upgrade got postponed. Figured I'd make a nice dinner. Elena faced him, wine glass in hand. We never have time to talk anymore. After 8 months of deception, Elena wanted to talk. Marcus activated his phone's recording app. What did you want to discuss? Elena moved closer, vulnerable in a way Marcus hadn't seen for years. Us. Our marriage. I feel like we've been living parallel lives instead of sharing one. Parallel lives. Interesting metaphor. Don't you feel it? The distance? We're roommates managing logistics, not partners building a life. Is that why you've been unhappy? Elena's eyes widened, surprise at his perceptiveness. You've noticed? I notice everything, Elena. Including when your toothbrush gets used at 1:23 p.m. Tuesday while you're supposedly at work. The wine glass slipped from Elena's hand, shattering against the tiles. Red wine splashed across white cabinets like blood. Marcus, including when you bring Rebecca Cole to our house for 8 months of afternoon encounters while our son's at school. Elena's face went completely white. She backed against the counter, trapped. How long have you known? 3 days. The question is, how long you've been lying to me. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You've been having an affair with your massage therapist for 8 months. Using our home, our bed, while Tyler could have walked in any time. Elena's composure cracked. Tyler was never at risk. I was careful. Careful? You call bringing your lover to our house careful? What if Tyler got sick? What if I came home early? What if neighbors saw her car? You don't understand. Then explain. Explain how my wife decided to destroy our marriage instead of talking to me about problems I didn't know existed. Elena's tears started, raw emotional overflow. I tried talking to you for months. I tried sharing my work, interests, dreams. You listened like you were processing data, not connecting with your wife. So, you found someone else to connect with. I found someone who made me feel human again. Someone who asked about my life and cared about the answers. Elena wiped her eyes. Rebecca listens when I talk about supply chain innovations. She encourages my data analytics ideas. She makes me feel intelligent instead of just efficient. The accusations stung because they contained truth. Marcus had treated Elena like a business partner, reliable, competent, but not particularly interesting. Did you love her? He asked quietly. Elena's hesitation was answer enough. I loved feeling valued. Having someone see me as more than Tyler's mother and your household manager. That's not what I asked? Yes. The admission came like a confession. I fell in love with Rebecca, but I never stopped loving you. This wasn't about replacing you. It was about finding parts of myself I'd forgotten existed. Marcus felt something break inside his chest. Elena loved another woman. Their marriage hadn't just been damaged. It had been replaced. Were you planning to leave me? I don't know. Rebecca wanted me to, but I couldn't imagine breaking Tyler's family. Elena moved closer, desperate. I thought maybe we could coexist. You and I maintain the household, raise Tyler together, and I could have something private that belonged to me. The proposal was breathtakingly selfish. Elena wanted to maintain their marriage as fiction while continuing her affair indefinitely. You wanted me to unknowingly support your relationship with another woman? I wanted everyone to be happy. Rebecca would have been discreet. Rebecca threatened to leave you unless you divorced me, didn't she? Elena's silence confirmed it. The affair had reached ultimatum stage. When were you planning to tell me? I hoped I wouldn't have to. I thought things would evolve naturally. Into what? Me finding out accidentally? Tyler discovering mommy has a girlfriend? Elena flinched at girlfriend. She'd compartmentalized the affair as emotional fulfillment, not lesbian identity. I never meant for it to go this far, she whispered. But it did. And now Tyler's going to know his mother lied to his father for 8 months while having an affair. Tyler doesn't have to know details. Tyler's going to know everything. Because tomorrow morning my attorney is filing for divorce and full custody. Elena, you're going to lose your son. The words hit like physical blows. Elena staggered backward. You can't take Tyler away from me. I can, and I will. You brought your lover to our house while Tyler was supposed to be safe at school. You've been lying about your whereabouts for months. You've demonstrated catastrophically poor judgment. I'm a good mother. Good mothers don't risk exposing their children to adult situations they can't understand. Good mothers don't prioritize affairs over family stability. Elena's tears became sobs. Marcus, please, I made mistakes, but I love Tyler more than anything. Don't use him as revenge. This isn't revenge. This is consequence. Your choices have consequences, Elena. She moved toward him, desperate. We can fix this. I'll end things with Rebecca. We can go to counseling. It's too late. It's never too late. We have 16 years together. We have a son. We have a life. We had a life. You destroyed it when you decided Rebecca Cole was more important than our marriage vows. Elena collapsed into a chair, face in her hands. Marcus watched his wife break down and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sympathy, just hollow acknowledgement that their marriage was over. After several minutes, Elena looked up, tears replaced by cold calculation. You recorded this conversation, didn't you? Marcus didn't respond. You've been planning this confrontation, gathering evidence, consulting attorneys, building a case. Elena's voice hardened. You're not heartbroken. You're angry that someone outsmarted your surveillance systems. I'm angry that my wife betrayed our family. You're angry that you lost control. That's what this has always been about, maintaining control over every variable in your perfectly organized life. The accusations stung because it contained truth. But Elena's affair wasn't about his control issues. It was about her choice to lie rather than communicate. If you wanted different things from our marriage, You should have told me before seeking them elsewhere. I tried telling you. You weren't listening. Then you should have tried harder. Marriage is work. It requires difficult conversations and uncomfortable compromises. You chose the easy path. Elena laughed bitterly. Easy? You think this has been easy? Living with guilt for 8 months? Watching you analyze toothbrush data while knowing I'd betrayed your trust? You could have ended your guilt by ending the affair. I could have ended my guilt by ending our marriage. Rebecca suggested that months ago. Why didn't you? Elena's pause stretched into silence. She didn't have an answer that wouldn't sound cruel. She'd stayed married for convenience. His income, their shared assets, Tyler's stability, not for love. I'll pack tonight, Elena said finally. I can stay with Rebecca until lawyers sort this out. Rebecca might not want you anymore. What do you mean? Marcus showed Elena the recording of his confrontation with Rebecca. I visited Wellform Therapeutics yesterday. Rebecca knows about the surveillance, evidence, legal consequences. She's scared. People make different choices when they're scared. Elena watched herself on Marcus's phone screen, laughing with Rebecca in their living room, unaware of the camera. Her face cycled through violation, anger, fear. You invaded my privacy. I documented infidelity in my own home. You had no right. I had every right. This is my house, my marriage, my family. You're the intruder here. Elena stood, pacing to the window. Outside, their suburban street looked exactly the same. Neat lawns, parked cars, neighbors walking dogs, the illusion of normalcy while their world collapsed. What happens now? She asked. You move out tonight. I file for divorce tomorrow. We fight over assets and custody until the court decides. Marcus began collecting wine-soaked glass. Or you can agree to my terms and make this easier. Your terms? I keep the house and Tyler. You keep your car and personal assets. I don't pursue damages for infidelity or report Rebecca to the licensing board. Elena turned from the window. And if I refuse, I destroy both your lives systematically. Rebecca loses her practice. You lose your job when I send surveillance footage to your HR department. Tyler learns exactly what his mother did and why his family exploded. The threats were delivered without emotion, like data points in a presentation. Marcus had analyzed every possible outcome, calculating optimal strategies for maximum damage. You've changed, Elena said quietly. The Marcus I married would never blackmail his own wife. The Marcus you married never had to. Elena gathered her purse and keys. At the doorway, she paused. For what it's worth, I really did love you. Before I loved her. I know, Marcus replied. That's what makes this unforgivable. Elena left without another word. Marcus finished cleaning glass and opened another bottle of wine. Tomorrow would bring lawyers, asset division, custody battles. Tonight, he mourned the end of his marriage alone. The divorce papers were served at Elena's workplace Thursday afternoon. Her coworkers watched as Elena read the documents, her face cycling through shock, anger, resignation. By Friday, Elena had retained Patricia Wong, an aggressive divorce specialist. Wong immediately filed counter-motions challenging Marcus's evidence gathering and requesting joint custody. The legal battle consumed 4 months with relentless intensity. Kate Reed proved formidable for Marcus's interests. She systematically dismantled Elena's privacy violation claims by establishing that Marcus had monitored his own property using legally purchased equipment. The surveillance footage was ruled admissible. Your Honor, Kate argued, Mrs. Reed brought her extramarital partner to the family home during work hours over 8 months. This demonstrates poor judgment affecting the child's welfare. Patricia Wong countered, Mr. Reed's obsessive surveillance indicates controlling behavior that created an emotionally toxic environment. Mrs. Reed sought comfort elsewhere because her marriage had become a prison. Judge Margaret Kellison seemed unimpressed by both arguments. What I care about is Tyler Reed's best interests. Both parents will undergo psychological evaluation, pill testing, and co-parenting classes. Marcus submitted to court requirements with systematic compliance. His evaluation revealed him highly analytical, emotionally reserved, but fundamentally stable and devoted to his son's welfare. The evaluator noted potential control issues, but no evidence of harmful behavior. Elena's evaluation was complex. The psychologist described her as intelligent, caring. but struggling with identity issues that led to poor decision-making during marital distress. The report recommended therapy for boundary-setting difficulties and ethical confusion regarding extramarital relationships. Meanwhile, Rebecca Cole's world disintegrated. Marcus had kept his promise to avoid reporting Rebecca, technically. Instead, he'd leaked the story to an investigative journalist specializing in professional misconduct. The Seattle Times article appeared Tuesday. Licensed therapist accused of inappropriate client relationship. While avoiding legal liability, it detailed Rebecca's affair using court documents and unnamed sources. Rebecca's professional association launched an ethics investigation. Clients canceled appointments. Her landlord declined to renew her lease. But Marcus's most devastating move involved Elena's employer. Washington employment law included provisions regarding moral turpitude affecting supervisory workers. Marcus provided Elena's HR with edited surveillance footage showing her leaving work during scheduled hours for personal business. The footage didn't show explicit activity. Marcus edited out privacy violations, but it clearly demonstrated Elena's pattern of falsifying time records and using company hours for personal activities. Elena was suspended, then terminated for time theft and supervisory conduct violations. Her unemployment benefits were denied due to workplace misconduct. Financial pressure intensified when Marcus froze their joint assets. Elena found herself living in Rebecca's one-bedroom apartment, surviving on minimal savings while facing mounting legal expenses. Rebecca, desperate to salvage her career, made a critical error. She contacted Marcus directly, requesting a meeting. They met at a Ballard coffee shop on a rainy November afternoon. Rebecca looked exhausted, dark circles, stress lines that hadn't been there months earlier. "This has to stop," she said without preamble. "You're destroying Elena's life over a marriage that was already over." Marcus sipped coffee calmly. Elena destroyed her own life by lying to her husband for 8 months. She was unhappy. Unhappy people get counseling or divorce. They don't maintain secret affairs while pretending everything's normal. Rebecca leaned forward intently. "What do you want? What would it take to leave us alone?" "Us?" Marcus laughed coldly. "There is no us anymore. Elena can't afford to keep you. She has no job, no assets, legal expenses that will bankrupt her. How long before you realize this relationship isn't worth losing your career? I love her. You love the idea of her. You love being the hero who rescued her from her boring marriage. But when money runs out and legal pressure mounts, love won't pay your rent." Rebecca's face flushed with anger. "You're wrong. What Elena and I have is real." "Then why are you here?" "If your relationship is so strong, why are you begging her estranged husband for mercy?" The question hung like an accusation. Rebecca had come alone, without Elena's knowledge, already calculating exit strategies. "Elena doesn't know about this meeting," Marcus continued. "Which means you're already keeping secrets from each other." "How's that working out?" "I wanted to try reasoning. You wanted to cut a deal before Elena becomes completely financially dependent on you. Smart move, but too late." Marcus finished his coffee and stood. "Enjoy the next few months. When Elena realizes you can't support her lifestyle, when poverty stress affects your relationship, when Tyler refuses to acknowledge you as anything other than the woman who destroyed his family, that's when you'll understand what you bought with." "This affair," Rebecca called after him, "Elena will never forgive you for this. Elena will never forgive herself. I'm just making sure consequences match choices." The custody hearing was December 15th, a cold, gray Seattle morning matching the courthouse's institutional atmosphere. Marcus arrived early in his best suit, carrying organized evidence. Elena entered with Patricia Wong, looking thin and tired. She'd lost weight during proceedings, her confident posture replaced by defensive wariness. Tyler, now 16 and a half, was required to testify about living preferences. He'd spent 4 months rotating between households, struggling to understand how his stable family had exploded into legal warfare. Judge Kellison called Tyler to the stand with unusual gentleness. "Tyler, you understand this is about determining your primary residence for the next 18 months?" "Yes, Your Honor. You've been living part-time with each parent. How has that worked?" Tyler glanced between his parents nervously. "It's confusing. I feel like I'm switching between 2 different worlds." "Can you explain?" "Dad's house feels normal. My room, my stuff, my routines, but it's really quiet now, like sad quiet." Tyler's voice cracked. Mom's apartment is smaller and Rebecca's always there. They try to include me, but I feel like I'm intruding on their relationship. Elena's face went pale. This was the first time Tyler had articulated his discomfort. Do you have a preference about where you'd like to live primarily? Tyler looked directly at Marcus. With my dad. I want things to feel normal again. Elena's lawyer immediately objected. Your Honor, the minor child has been influenced by litigation stress. His preferences may not reflect genuine best interests. Judge Kellison silenced Wong with a glare. Tyler, do you feel safe and comfortable with both parents? Yes. I love my mom, but everything's different now. She's different. Like she's trying to be someone else to make Rebecca happy. The testimony continued 30 minutes, Tyler describing his experience shuttling between households. His answers were thoughtful, mature, but clearly painful. He loved both parents, but felt more stable in his father's familiar environment. When Tyler stepped down, Judge Kellison called recess. Elena immediately approached Marcus in the hallway. He's choosing you because of the house, the neighborhood, his school, she said desperately. Not because I'm a bad mother. You're not a bad mother. But you're a mother who prioritized an affair over your son's emotional security. I never meant for Tyler to be hurt. Intent doesn't matter. Impact matters. Tyler's been living in chaos for 4 months because you couldn't end your marriage honestly. When court reconvened, Judge Kellison delivered her ruling with clinical precision. Primary custody to Marcus, with Elena receiving supervised visitation every other weekend and 1 evening weekly. The supervision would be reviewed after 6 months of therapy compliance. Elena's financial support would be minimal. No alimony due to infidelity findings. Child support calculated on current unemployment rather than previous warehouse salary. Furthermore, Judge Kellison continued, I'm ordering a restraining order preventing Miss Rebecca Cole from any contact with minor Tyler Reed. This relationship created circumstances that destabilized this family, and Tyler should not be exposed to ongoing reminders. The ruling effectively ended Elena's relationship with Rebecca. She could choose her lover or her son, but not both. Outside the courthouse, Elena sat on concrete steps while her attorney made appeal calls. Marcus approached cautiously. You got what you wanted, Elena said without looking up. I got what Tyler needed. Same thing in your mind. Marcus sat beside her, maintaining space. Elena, I never wanted to destroy your life. I wanted to save our family. When that became impossible, I focused on protecting Tyler. By taking him away from me. By providing him stability while you figure out what you actually want. You can't parent effectively while having an identity crisis. Elena finally looked at him. Do you think I'm a lesbian? The question surprised Marcus with its vulnerability. I think you're someone who fell in love with a specific person who happens to be a woman. What label you put on, that is up to you. Rebecca thinks I've been repressing my true nature for 20 years. That my marriage to you was internalized homophobia. What do you think? Elena considered seriously. I think I was genuinely happy with you for the first 10 years. Then we started treating each other like business partners instead of lovers. Rebecca made me feel desired again. But I don't know if that's about her being a woman or just about her paying attention to me. The honesty was more than Marcus had expected. Elena was genuinely confused about her identity, using the affair to explore feelings she didn't understand. Are you staying with Rebecca? The restraining order makes that complicated. If I can't bring Tyler to her apartment and she can't come anywhere Tyler might be, Elena shrugged helplessly. Our relationship only worked in secret. It can't survive in the open. Marcus felt unexpected sympathy. Elena had lost her marriage, job, son's primary custody, and now, potentially, Rebecca. The consequences had accumulated beyond his original intentions. The supervised visitation isn't permanent, he offered. If you complete therapy and demonstrate stability, the court will likely expand your time with Tyler. Define stability. Steady employment, independent housing, healthy boundaries with romantic relationships. Marcus paused. And probably ending things with Rebecca. You win either way, don't you? If I stay with Rebecca, I'm choosing her over Tyler. If I leave Rebecca, you've successfully destroyed the relationship that threatened your control. The accusation stung because it contained truth. Marcus had systematically eliminated Elena's options until she had no choice but capitulation. I win when Tyler has 2 stable parents who can co-parent effectively. Everything else is secondary. Elena stood, gathering her purse and coat. I need to figure out how to rebuild my life from nothing. Again. Elena, what? Marcus wanted to offer something, apology, understanding, hope for eventual reconciliation. But the words wouldn't come. Too much damage had been done by both of them. Take care of yourself. Elena walked away without responding, disappearing into the Seattle drizzle like a ghost of their former life. Spring arrived with unusual warmth. Marcus had settled into single-father routine. Work, Tyler's activities, household maintenance, occasional dates with Lisa, a software engineer who appreciated his reserved nature. Elena had found employment as a logistics coordinator for a smaller company, earning significantly less but enough to rent a one-bedroom apartment in Renton. She attended court-mandated therapy and had progressed to unsupervised visitation with Tyler every other weekend. Rebecca Cole had relocated to Portland after losing her Washington license. She'd sent Elena a few emails attempting to maintain their long-distance relationship, but separation strain and legal consequences had fractured whatever they built. Tyler was thriving in his father's house stability. His grades improved, he made varsity basketball, and he seemed to have processed the divorce with remarkable resilience. Marcus allowed himself to believe the worst was behind them. On a Wednesday evening in late April, Tyler was at basketball practice when the doorbell rang. Marcus opened the door to find Elena standing on his porch, holding a small gift bag and wearing a hesitant smile. Hi. Is Tyler home? Practice until 7. What's the occasion? Marcus nodded toward the bag. No occasion, just saw something he'd like. Elena shifted nervously. Could I come in? I wanted to talk about something. Marcus hesitated. Their interactions had been cordial but distant since the divorce finalized 2 months earlier. Of course. In the living room, the same space where Elena had confessed her love for Rebecca 6 months earlier, she sat carefully on the couch edge, maintaining distance from Marcus's chair. Tyler seems happy, she said. He's doing well. Made honor roll last quarter. He told me. I'm proud of him. Elena set down the gift bag. Marcus, I owe you an apology. For what specifically? Everything. The affair, the lies, putting Tyler through this chaos. I was selfish and cowardly, and I'm sorry. The apology felt genuine, delivered without defensiveness or excuse. Marcus had waited months to hear Elena take full responsibility. Thank you. That means something. I've been in therapy for 4 months now, learning about boundary setting, communication skills, identity issues. Doctor. Patterson thinks I used the affair to avoid dealing with problems in our marriage. What do you think? Elena considered carefully. I think I was scared to admit I'd outgrown the person I was when we got married. Instead of talking to you about changing needs, I found someone who accepted the person I was becoming. And now? Now I'm learning to accept myself without needing external validation. It's harder than having an affair, but probably healthier. They sat in comfortable silence. Outside, their suburban neighborhood bustled with evening activities. Dog walkers, children playing, neighbors retrieving mail. Ordinary rhythms that had continued despite their personal catastrophe. I have something to tell you, Elena said finally. Something important. Marcus's stomach clenched. Elena's tone carried weight, suggesting this wasn't casual. I'm pregnant. The words hit like a physical blow. Marcus processed implications while Elena watched his face. Pregnant? How far along? About 12 weeks. Due in October. Marcus's mind raced through calendar calculations. 12 weeks ago would have been late January, around when Elena moved into Rebecca's apartment. Is Rebecca the father? The question sounded absurd. Elena's laugh was shaky. No, Marcus, Rebecca and we never figured out how to make that aspect of our relationship work. Different anatomy, different expectations. Then who? Elena's pause stretched into uncomfortable silence. Marcus felt familiar dread, the same sensation he'd experienced discovering her affair. Do you remember when I had Tyler? Elena asked quietly. Of course. The IVF procedure. We used your biological material, my eggs, very controlled process. Marcus nodded, confused about relevance. They'd struggled with fertility for 3 years before Tyler's conception, requiring medical intervention. The clinic stored extra genetic material from both of us, standard procedure in case the first attempt failed or we wanted additional children later. Understanding began to dawn with horrifying clarity. Elena, what did you do? The stored samples were supposed to be destroyed after 5 years, but there was a clerical error. They were still viable when I inquired last fall. You inquired about our stored genetic material? I wanted Tyler to have a sibling, a blood sibling. I thought maybe if I could give you another child, it might help repair some damage I'd caused. Marcus stood abruptly, pacing to the window. You used our stored genetic material without my consent? Technically, the consent forms we signed 15 years ago covered future use. Elena, those forms covered use within our marriage for expanding our family. We're divorced. The clinic didn't know that. I used my maiden name, provided old identification. They assumed I was still Elena Weller, still married to you. The enormity of Elena's deception was staggering. She'd fraudulently accessed stored genetic material to become pregnant with Marcus's biological child without his knowledge or consent. You forged documents? I omitted current information. That's different. No, Elena, it's not different. It's fraud. It's reproductive coercion. It's insane. Elena's composure cracked. I thought if I could give you another child, prove I was capable of being a good mother again, maybe we could rebuild some kind of family relationship. By lying to me for 3 months about carrying my child? I wanted to wait until the pregnancy was stable. First trimester feticide rates. Don't. Marcus's voice cut through her explanation like ice. Don't you dare rationalize this with medical statistics. Elena began crying, deep, wrenching sobs that shook her entire body. I just wanted to fix things. I wanted to give you something good after destroying everything else. Marcus felt no sympathy, only cold calculation. Elena had escalated beyond infidelity into reproductive fraud. The legal implications were staggering. Did Rebecca know about this? No, nobody knows. I've been handling everything alone, including prenatal care. I found an obstetrician who accepts cash payments. Everything's progressing normally. Marcus pulled out his phone. I'm calling Kate. Marcus, please. You committed fraud, Elena. You used my genetic material without consent. You forged documents. You're carrying a child conceived through criminal activity. Elena moved toward him desperately. It's your child, too. Your biological son or daughter, conceived through deception and fraud. But still your child. The biological reality stopped Marcus cold. Elena was carrying his genetic offspring, a sibling for Tyler, a child who would share his DNA regardless of conception circumstances. What did you think would happen when you told me? I hoped you'd see it as a gift. A chance to be a father again? I hoped you'd understand that family isn't built on lies and manipulation. Elena collapsed back onto the couch. I know I messed up. I know this was wrong. But the baby exists now. What do we do about that? Marcus stared at his ex-wife, the mother of his son, destroyer of his marriage, and now unwilling partner in his second child's existence. The legal, emotional, and practical complications were overwhelming. We get a DNA test to confirm paternity. We involve attorneys to establish legal parentage. We figure out custody arrangements for a child conceived through fraud. Marcus's voice was mechanical, processing logistics to avoid emotional overwhelm. And you probably go to jail for reproductive coercion. Jail? Using someone's genetic material without consent is a felony in Washington state. The clinic will be required to report the fraud once I notify them. Elena's face went completely white. I didn't know that was illegal. Ignorance isn't a defense. What about the baby? If I'm in jail, the baby becomes my responsibility. Which is probably what you wanted anyway. Elena's manipulation had achieved its intended result through catastrophically poor execution. She'd guaranteed Marcus would be involved in raising their second child by making herself legally unable to do so. I never meant for it to happen this way, she whispered. How did you mean for it to happen, Elena? What was your best-case scenario? Elena couldn't answer because there had been no realistic best-case scenario. She'd acted on desperate impulse, hoping somehow to rebuild her relationship with Marcus through reproductive coercion. The front door opened, and Tyler's voice echoed through the house. Dad, I'm home. Marcus and Elena looked at each other with mutual panic. Tyler didn't know about the pregnancy, and this wasn't how either parent wanted him to find out. In the living room, Marcus called back. Tyler appeared in the doorway, sweaty from basketball practice and surprised to see his mother. Mom. I didn't know you were coming over. I brought you something. Elena forced a smile, handing Tyler the gift bag. Just a little surprise. Tyler opened the bag and pulled out a Seattle Seahawks keychain. Thanks. This is cool. Tyler, sit down for a minute, Marcus said. Your mother has some news to share. Elena shot Marcus a desperate look, but he remained implacable. Tyler deserved to know he was going to be a big brother, regardless of circumstances. What kind of news? Tyler sat between his parents, immediately sensing tension. Elena took her son's hand. I'm going to have a baby. You're going to have a little brother or sister? Tyler's expression cycled through confusion, surprise, and complicated emotions Marcus couldn't identify. Is the baby dad's too? The directness caught both adults off guard. Tyler was 16, old enough to understand biological implications and recognize legal complexities. Yes, Elena said quietly. The baby is your father's, but you're divorced. It's complicated, Tyler. Tyler looked between his parents, processing information that would challenge any teenager's understanding of adult relationships. Are you getting back together? No, Marcus said firmly. We're not getting back together. Then how are we supposed to handle having a baby? The question hung in the air like an indictment. Tyler had identified the fundamental problem. How to co-parent a child when the parents couldn't trust each other and one had committed fraud to conceive. We'll figure it out, Elena said weakly. Tyler stood up abruptly. This is messed up. Everything was just starting to feel normal again, and now there's going to be another baby and more legal stuff and more fighting. Tyler, Marcus began. No, Dad, I'm tired of adult problems affecting my life. First mom's affair, then the divorce, now this. Tyler's voice cracked with frustration. I just want to be a normal teenager for 5 minutes. He stormed upstairs, leaving his parents in uncomfortable silence. He's right, Elena said eventually. This is messed up. Yes, it is, and it's entirely your fault. Elena nodded, accepting blame without argument. What happens now? Marcus looked at his ex-wife, pregnant with his child through fraud, facing potential criminal charges and having just devastated their son's emotional stability again. Now we deal with the consequences of your choices. Again, the legal proceedings that followed made their divorce look simple. Elena was charged with fraud and reproductive coercion, but agreed to a plea bargain involving probation, community service, and mandatory psychological evaluation rather than jail time. The DNA test confirmed Marcus's paternity, establishing his legal rights and responsibilities. A family court judge appointed a guardian ad litem to represent the unborn baby's interests during custody negotiations. Elena gave birth to a daughter in October, a healthy baby girl they named Sarah. Marcus was present for delivery, not as Elena's partner, but as the father establishing immediate parental rights. The final custody hearing took place in November, with baby Sarah sleeping in her carrier beside the witness stand. Judge Kellison, presiding over her second Reed family custody case, seemed wary of their ongoing legal drama. This court has reviewed the circumstances of this child's conception, which were highly irregular and legally problematic, she began. However, the child exists and deserves appropriate care regardless of how she came to be. Elena's attorney argued for joint custody based on Elena's successful probation completion and continued therapy. Marcus's attorney countered that Elena's pattern of deception and poor judgment made her unsuitable for unsupervised parenting. Tyler, now 17, was again called to testify about living preferences and family dynamics. Tyler, how do you feel about having a baby sister? Judge Kellison asked gently. I love her. She's innocent in all this adult drama. Tyler's voice was steady, mature beyond his years. But I'm worried about how my parents are going to handle co-parenting when they can't trust each other. Do you have concerns about your mother's ability to care for Sarah? Tyler glanced at Elena apologetically. I love my mom, but she made really bad decisions about having this baby. I'm not sure she should be making decisions about Sarah's care without supervision. Elena's face crumpled, but she remained silent. Her own son had testified against her parental fitness. Judge Kellison awarded primary custody to Marcus, with Elena receiving supervised visitation twice weekly and every other weekend. The supervision would be reviewed annually based on Elena's continued compliance with court orders and therapeutic recommendations. Outside the courthouse, Elena approached Marcus one final time. I know you'll be a good father to Sarah, she said quietly. You've always been a good father to Tyler. Elena, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just acknowledging that you'll give her a stable life, which is more than I've been able to provide for anyone lately. Marcus looked at his ex-wife, holding their 3-month-old daughter. Elena had lost custody of both her children through catastrophically poor decisions, but she seemed to have finally accepted responsibility for consequences. The door isn't permanently closed, he said. If you continue therapy, maintain employment, and demonstrate real stability for an extended period, the court might consider expanding your access. How long? Years, Elena. This level of trust rebuilding takes years. Elena nodded, tears streaming down her face. Take care of them. Both of them. She walked away for the second time, leaving Marcus standing on courthouse steps with his infant daughter and the weight of single parenthood for 2 children. 2 years later, Marcus stood in his kitchen preparing bottles for Sarah's morning feeding while Tyler grabbed breakfast before school. Their routine had evolved into comfortable efficiency, 2 males learning to care for a baby girl who had become the center of their restructured family. Elena saw her children every Tuesday evening and every other Saturday, always under court supervision. She had maintained steady employment, continued therapy, and demonstrated remarkable consistency in rebuilding trust efforts. The supervised visitation had been expanded from 2 hours to 4, and Elena's therapist had recommended consideration of overnight visits by Sarah's 2nd birthday. Marcus had sold the suburban house where too many betrayals had occurred, purchasing a smaller home in Tyler's school district that felt less haunted by their former life. Tyler was thriving as a senior, planning for college, and had developed a protective relationship with his baby sister that brought Marcus unexpected joy. Rebecca Cole remained in Portland, working as a yoga instructor after losing her massage therapy license. She'd sent a single letter to Elena 6 months after Sarah's birth, an apology for her role in destroying Elena's marriage and acknowledgement that their relationship had been built on deception rather than genuine foundation. On this particular Tuesday morning, Marcus received an unexpected visitor. Elena arrived for her scheduled visitation carrying a manila envelope and wearing an expression of nervous determination. "What's this?" Marcus asked, noting the legal document format. "Petition to modify custody arrangements. My attorney filed it yesterday." Marcus felt familiar dread. "Elena, we've been making progress." "Why complicate things with more legal proceedings?" "Because I want to ask for something different than usual." Elena handed him the envelope. "I'm requesting termination of my parental rights to Sarah." The words hit Marcus like ice water. "What?" "I've been thinking about this for months. Sarah deserves a mother who can be present consistently, not someone she sees twice a week under supervision. Tyler's leaving for college next year. You might want to remarry eventually, give Sarah a stable family unit." Marcus stared at the legal documents, processing the enormity of Elena's proposal. "You want to voluntarily terminate your rights to your daughter?" "I want to give Sarah the best possible life. That's not with me trying to rebuild trust for the next 5 years while she grows up thinking supervised visits are normal. Elena, this is permanent. You can't change your mind later." "I know." Elena's voice was steady, resolved. "I've discussed it extensively with Dr. Patterson. This isn't an impulsive decision." Tyler appeared in the kitchen doorway, immediately sensing adult tension. "What's going on?" Elena turned to her son. "I'm asking your father to consider allowing me to terminate my parental rights to Sarah." Tyler's expression shifted through confusion, surprise, and something that might have been respect. "You want to give up legal claim to Sarah?" "I want to give Sarah the freedom to have a real family without the complication of my legal battles and trust issues." "What about seeing her?" "I could still visit occasionally if your father permits it." "But as a family friend, not legal parent." Marcus sat heavily at the kitchen table, still holding the legal documents. "Elena, this feels like you're running away again, or it feels like I'm finally putting someone else's needs ahead of my own desires." Elena sat across from him. "Marcus, you've been Sarah's primary parent since birth. You handle feeding schedules, medical appointments, childcare arrangements. I show up twice a week for supervised playtime. Because that's what the court ordered. Because that's what my choices earned me. And Sarah deserves better than growing up thinking court supervision is normal family interaction." Tyler sat beside his father. "Would you still be my mom legally?" "Yes. This is only about Sarah. Though you're 18 in 6 months, so that will be your choice anyway." Marcus looked at his infant daughter sleeping in her carrier, unaware that the adults were discussing her future. Sarah had been born into legal complexity through no fault of her own. Elena's proposal would simplify her life dramatically. "I need time to think about this," Marcus said. "Of course. There's no rush." Elena stood to leave. "I just wanted you to know I'm considering options that might be better for everyone." After Elena left, Tyler remained at the kitchen table with his father. Do you think she's serious? Tyler asked. I think she's trying to find a way to do something selfless after 2 years of selfish decisions. Would you consider it? Marcus looked at his son, nearly an adult, wise beyond his years due to circumstances no child should navigate. What do you think? I think Sarah would be better off with one stable parent who has full authority to make decisions instead of two parents who have to negotiate everything through lawyers. Tyler paused. And I think maybe Mom is finally learning what love actually looks like. The observation was profound coming from a 17-year-old. Love wasn't possession or control or legal rights. Love was recognizing when someone else's well-being mattered more than your own desires. 3 months later, in the same courthouse where their family had been dismantled through multiple legal proceedings, Elena voluntarily signed away her parental rights to Sarah. Judge Kellison presided over the termination hearing with solemnity appropriate to the permanent nature of Elena's decision. Mrs. Reed, do you understand that this action is irrevocable? You will have no legal claim to this child, no right to visitation, no authority regarding her care or upbringing? Yes, Your Honor. I understand completely. And you believe this decision is in the child's best interests? Elena looked at Marcus holding Sarah, now a toddler taking her first steps. Yes, Sarah deserves a family without legal complications. This gives her father the freedom to provide that. The judge signed the termination order, officially severing Elena's legal relationship with her second child. Elena hugged Tyler goodbye, kissed Sarah's forehead, and walked out of their lives with quiet dignity. Marcus never heard from her again. Tyler graduated high school and left for college at the University of Washington, visiting home frequently to spend time with his baby sister. Sarah grew up believing her brother was the most important person in her universe, with no memory of the woman who had given birth to her through fraud and then voluntarily disappeared. On Sarah's 5th birthday, Marcus married Lisa, the software engineer who had become his partner in rebuilding their family. Lisa adopted Sarah legally, giving her the mother she deserved and the stability Elena's choices had made impossible. Sometimes, late at night while checking on his sleeping daughter, Marcus wondered about Elena. Whether she'd found peace, whether she regretted her decision, whether she ever thought about the child she'd created through desperation and then loved enough to release. But mostly, he focused on the family they'd built from the wreckage of betrayal: Tyler, Sarah, Lisa, and himself. Proof that love could create beauty even from the ashes of deception. The smart toothbrush that had revealed Elena's affair sat in Marcus's bathroom cabinet, no longer connected to any monitoring system. Just a toothbrush, holding no secrets, recording no lies. Some digital fingerprints were worth forgetting.